Fire. Fire has played different roles at different times in society. In fact, Shakespeare talks about qualifying the fire's extreme rage, lest it should burn beyond the bounds of reason. On the 17th of October 1998 was the day of the unforgettable fire that destroyed Jesse Town. The fire that burnt beyond reason. Residents of Antigua Jesse, a sleepy village located in Echo West local government area of Oil-rich Delta State, have recalled the pipeline incident that consumed over 1,000 lives in one fell swoop. A lot of respondents interviewed did elaborate the cause of destruction. The traditional ruler of JC Town, Chief Monday Owuwo Whiskey, who was a journalist at that time, did share his experiences. Currently, he is the OV of Ideja Kingdom in Etuk West local government area of Delta State.
I was the state editor of the Diet newspaper, defunct now, and because of the veracity of the fire burned well over 2 kilometers from the waterfront up to the tar road. And so anything that was standing in those land space, they were all consumed. Whether you were there fetching fuel, whether you were there as a spectator, because at that particular time in history, there was huge fuel scarcity under the government of General Abu Salami Abubakar. And at that particular time, you hardly would get fuel from a filling station. So when there was this issue of leakage, rupture pipeline, people that were even traveling on the express came to buy. Some came to see. And as a journalist then, when the story broke, I came as other journalists would come. I put aside the fact that I'm from this kingdom. I did my professional reportage. And when the incident, at the end of the incident, we lost over 1,500 persons. And we thought it wise that the only way to draw government attention to the true situation of what happened, we addressed a world press conference where we told the world that the pipeline, apart from being that it's of age, it ruptured naturally.
The scene was one of biblical proportions, and it led to the death of 1,098 people. Bodies were carried in wheelbarrows, and the hospital was in a stark condition, inundated with victims of the fire. It begs the question, do we really learn? Do we introspect? Because since JC, we've had over 10 pipeline fires since then, and the list keeps growing. A comprehensive report by Friends of the Earth sheds copious light on this. The tragedy that occurred on the 17th of October 1998 in the Dehe clan comprised of 32 communities in Echo West local government area of Delta State, southern Nigeria, when a 16-inch petrol pipeline linking the Warri refinery to Kaduna exploded at Antigua, leaving hundreds of villagers dead and critically injured. More in the ensuing inferno was the loss of life and property that happened. The community most affected was JC, and the main town in the area was inundated with a lot of fire. The PPMC, that's the Petroleum Product Marketing Company, the subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), and the government of the day at that time, alleged sabotage. But this charge has not been substantiated. And relying on this narrative, the government then of Abdusalami Abubakar ruled out compensation, and the surviving villages even feared that they might be prosecuted. The Environmental Rights Action Team that also visited Idehe learned that a leakage in a high-pressure pipeline was noticed on Friday, October 16. That day, the local people from JC and nearby villages trooped to Antigua. Some tried to scoop the fuel, as the country had been inundated with a fuel crisis at that point in time from the time of General Sani Abacha. Others went to the scene just to look, while some were in their farms, while others were fishing or returning from fetching potable water from the nearby Ethiop River. When the tragedy struck, The majority of the victims were women and children.
It's unfortunate that the government then and the succeeding government had not done anything for the people in the community because it was colossal. It wasn't their fault. If they had put their pipeline properly protected, I'm sure it wouldn't have happened. But I will say that compensation is never too late. These are some of the things, that's what I was just discussing with the king, so that we can bring it up. It's something that needs to be revisited so that the adequate compensation that's required, because some of these persons, a whole family, there are situations where the entire family was wiped out. There's some where young ones were turned into orphans. And I believe it's as a result of the government and the managers of the pipeline not doing what they ought to do at the right time.
The report further stated that an helicopter owned by an oil company once hovered around the village, warning the villagers to leave the scene. Afterwards, an explosion happened. It should be stated there are many angles to the Jesse story. And High Chief Solodem Agbagbi, the Onugbogbogbo of Jesse Central Ogiedon, speaks of this.
There were a lot of destruction. The fire really destroyed both our children, women, old and young. And it really caused, even up to today, we are still mourning. It affects the economy of Igere Kingdom because where you have almost about 1,000+ people that died, definitely it must affect the economy of the community. It really affects us.
We also have a victim that lost his wife and daughter, Mr. Umukoro, that also speaks of the Jesse incident.
He said, so this boy not they get finished or something like that. This my daughter and herself, and the other younger ones, they all left. So to go and see the site. The younger ones, Charity, Monday, and somebody again. As they near the place, the order of the fuel where people carry like that was much that they couldn't continue the movement. My wife and the girl, they go. As they get to the place, see the ovation, see whatever the people are doing or even themselves, we are just confused. Small time now they hear the boom, fire. That they had boom, so that is how it happened because I didn't see the two of them again. Two of them just died like that. So we tried to see their body, to look for their body. They were beyond recognition. They were carried dead body.
With all of these comments and the view of the JC town as it is today, 22 years down the line, it calls for many questions and sober reflection. It is a jarring reminder of the suffering and the loss of life that JC still suffers. Now, there are families that are disgruntled. There are people that are hurt and they will never see their loved one that passed away 22 years ago. We all ask, with about 10 different pipeline fires since that time, have we really learned lessons from the JC incident? Could the JC incident have been truly averted? What is instructive is the numerous pipeline fires that have happened since then and the way we are so quick to move on from these pipeline fires. Pretty much he's akin to a footballer hitting a penalty kick deliberately to the touchline for a throw-in. How can we safeguard our national assets and protect life properly in the view of all this? How can we ensure that people in authority take responsibility when national disasters like this happen? And most importantly, how can we prevent the loss of lives? We need to be collectively sensitive about our environment and the future of the unborn generation. 22 years on, the JC people still ask many questions. It's been great reporting for Arise TV News on this from Rufai Oseni and Jemima Boloko.